put an ad in all the papers that we used to have at the time. Came up with the idea of being the mobile mattress guy. And so I was answering phones all day, but back then you could get pretty much anywhere in the valley in 15 minutes. I might be in Mesa and they're in Surprise, but you know what? I'm not far from you. I'll be there in 15 minutes in my 1974 refurbished Wonder Bread step van.
Rob calls up, he's in Arizona, and he's like, hey, I got this mattress gig going on. And he's like, why don't you and Kristen move down and we'll build this big company. I came down and opened up the second store, and we were selling liquidated product. And we get up to 4 to 5 stores, and that's when Montgomery Ward's goes bankrupt. We would get queens and kings and different things from Montgomery Ward's, but we weren't getting, box springs and twin size beds and full size beds. So we went to a small manufacturer here in town, and they were supplementing our product, and so we were buying from them. So Ward's goes bankrupt, and we're freaking out. We know we can't make a living selling the product from the small manufacturer. We needed the name brand product that we were getting from Montgomery Ward's. So we went straight to the major manufacturers. So they eventually start selling us some product, and a month later, we're in the factory again looking at some liquidated product. Well, now the guy at Sealy says, hey, if you want the finished goods, you gotta buy this obsolete raw material. I go directly over to the guy that is making our twins and our fulls and that was supplementing our business. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do with it? I'm like, well, I want you to make mattresses. He just didn't want to do it. That was when I was like, well, you know what? Let's figure out how to make a mattress. We became known as the guys that would buy anything. I would start getting calls from factories all over the country. I could have handled probably all the transactions over the phone, but all I really wanted to do was to get into these factories and see how they were manufacturing it. I wanted to build my own world-class factory. Customers would come into our stores and they would look at a bed that we make, and it was R&S Mattress at the time, and consumers really liked the product, but there would always be a little hesitation in the customer. And that's when I decided, I'm like, we need a brand. And I had 2 daughters at the time, Kaylee and Brooklyn, and Brooklyn Bedding sounded established. And it was phenomenal, the change that happened almost overnight. And pretty soon that was all they were selling, was Brooklyn Bedding. It's 2008, and I was really focused on the bed in the box out of China. My wife's like, why don't you sell our mattresses online? I go to China. They have an old press, and they press it, and then there's 3 guys that roll it by hand. I eventually found a machine out of Italy that was designed to roll mattresses. Let's buy the machine, and then we'll figure out how to sell a bed later. I'm like, I'm gonna put a bed on Amazon, and we don't sell a bed for probably 6 months. And I just kind of forgot about it. All of a sudden an email comes in, you've sold an item. And I followed that bed all the way through production to make sure that there was not a single thing wrong with it. I mean, I physically drove it down to a FedEx station and dropped it off. On my way back to the factory, everything racing through my mind of what this could mean or where it could take us. And now we're a national brand. We can sell beds all over. We were one of the first true mattress factories to put mattresses in a box in the US. So my passion is still on the factory floor. I made my office have a window so that I could oversee the whole factory. I wake up every day and I get to come to work and do what I love to do.
Having started selling at the indoor swap meet 5 miles from where the factory is today, never in my wildest dreams would I ever think that, we'd have this state-of-the-art facility. We'd be shipping mattresses all over the country. But with the help of my brother and just a ton of other people, it's been an exciting, wild ride.